What's up everybody, it's me Fuzzy from 2UpSave, and today we're going to be doing a painting tutorial on this Chaos Cultist. Now, I am working on my Chaos Knights army, and with the new detachment, I'm integrating a bunch of these guys, and I thought it'd be a great way to show you all a step-by-step process of how to paint a model using one of these Chaos Cultists. And this is also going to be my test through, trying to come up with a color scheme for them. I am going to be using Sons of Horus Green, Rust Gray, Mornfang Brown, Kislev Flesh, Balthazar Bronze, Balthazar Gold, Iron Hands Steel, Warpstone Green, and Evil Sons Scarlet. So, and maybe some other colors as we go along, we'll find out. So, first thing we do when we paint is we work on a base coat. So I spray painted mine with Chaos Black, and that is my way of basing my model. Now what I'm gonna do for the first step is what I like to call flats. Now, when you work in the comics industry or you're painting, sometimes you work with flats. Ooh, this hasn't been opened yet. Here we go. Oh, beautiful. So this Mornfang Brown is going to be our base for the skin. And it's a nice rich brown. Mix some water with that on my palette here, because you want your paints to be thinner than they come out of the pot. So those paints are very thick, which is a good thing. But for what we're doing here is to not lose detail, we are going to be painting with thinner coats. Just trying to take a look to see what is skin, what is not. All right, we're just gonna go for it. So these are my flats. So I'm gonna paint all the skin that he has in this brown color. Da, 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 da. All right. I don't know if that's his stomach stapled or what. That's kind of odd. Let me zoom in a little bit, see if that helps you guys out. I really like the helmet on this guy. So we're getting that first base layer. We have the base coat of black, and then we're doing the first flat of brown, Mornfang Brown. Now, if you were doing more of a reddish tone, I know a lot of people are using reds, like a red base for their skin. That's awesome. I probably could have done a blue or a green base and built that up to make it look more sickly. Da, da, da. Lovely. Cool. Where else? His hand, his other hand. Haha! There we go. So my list of Chaos Knights, the Iconoclast, is it fiefdom or fiefdom? I think it's fiefdom. I always butcher the pronunciation. All right. So now that we have the base brown done, I'm gonna wash my brush. Sorry for slinging my arm across there. All right, skin tones are done. I can't tell if it's a goatee. All right, maybe I'm not done yet. Some of his face is in there. That looks like a goatee. So we'll just get that too. Cool. Yeah. All right, set him down, wash the brush. Our next color we're going to use is going to be Sons of Horus Green. So I'm thinking about the majority of clothing. Oh, that was a new pot too, apparently. Wild. I don't feel like it was. I'll put it on my palette. This is such a beautiful gray-green color. I'm using it on a lot of my Chaos Knights. Each of my Knights is going to be painted differently. I know that kind of goes against the house idea of it all being a certain type and then being pledged to a certain group or whatever. But to me, that screams Chaos. So we're going to do his pants. Again, I watered them down. Bring that down to there. Lovely. Let's zoom in for you just a little bit. And the reason I like to put my models together first before painting and then using a black base is like shadows. I don't need to necessarily go in to here too much between, because it helps create a natural shadow. Oops. All right, what do I want to do for the other color? So what would go great with that? I think probably like a cream color. So I am going to bring in another paint color. I'm going to bring in, I think, Morghast Bone for his like skirt. But I don't want to go straight to the Morghast Bone. So I'm going to use Zamisi Desert. Let's try that out. I don't need too much because I'm just using one. I'm going to leave this out so you guys can see the color in case you decide this is something you like and you want to play along. That paint came out super thick, so we're going to make sure we water that down. So we're going to get right up in there and bring that yellowy, that golden yellow ochre type color out. Beautiful. Get underneath that armor plating. Lovely. And this is, again, this is the flats part. Another way I would have gone about this is dry brushing the whole thing of brown, maybe. Most of the iconography and metal work is going to be those darker metallics, because I don't envision them polishing their armor too much. Let's get really close in there because I think there's, anyway. And the reason we're doing the flats first instead of going into like trying to do super detail is it's you can go in and make corrections as you go. And if you do the details areas first, then you have to cover those up if you have a hiccup. I am going to use some of that in the deep recesses there. If I went off camera, I terribly apologize. There we go. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Okay. So I'm already liking how this color scheme's looking. I'm going to let that dry just a sec. And I'm going to do another layer of that Zamisi Desert, just to kind of pop it up a little bit. So it was very thin on there. Very cool. Okay, I'm really liking the color scheme thus far. I really don't know what that is. Is it like a rib harness? It's so strange. I can't tell what's going on here. The way because that's weird. I could just rip off his arm and take another look. I'm gonna see if I have another, because I do. Try to find another one of the same model. Ooh. And see if it's any clearer. No? No, it's not. Well, that's a bit of a silly. It looks like it's the skirt coming up. We're gonna say it's that. So that means we have to pivot and bring that up to here, I think. That checks out right there. Turn him around. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna say it's that. And it looks about right. So let's polish that. Get right in there a little bit. Lovely. And when I get my paint on my brush, I try to roll it into the paint, and that helps form it. And that prevents you from having to put your brush in your mouth to alter it or to shape it. Awesome. All right, let's zoom back out. We're gonna start the next block color. I think the boots, I don't know how I wanna do the boots. I might actually use a brown that I already have on my palette, which is gonna be, gosh, what is that? I think it's Blood Reaver Flesh. So I'm gonna use Blood Reaver Flesh mixed with my Mornfane for the boots. And there's a chance that most of this is gonna get covered up by the Sterling Mud. That's how I plan on doing their bases. All my knights have a base of made of cork, and then I add the Sterling Mud around it and add little like wire mesh. But for the foot soldiers, I decided against that, and I think what I'm going to do is focus a lot more on just simple bases, but still in theme. Okay, so there's that. I do the grenades in red because it looks like a melta grenade, and so I always think red. Dollop right there. So we're gonna get this one on all my Marines is red, so I figured I'd do it red on these guys too. Try to get it around as much as I can. I mean, already he's starting to look pretty cool. I'm loving it. That armor plate, I don't know what color. I think I'm gonna do the armor as an actual armor color. I think that sounds fun. Okay, so we're gonna go with the Balthazar Gold, which is my favorite, absolute favorite. Especially over a black base. And I believe I'm gonna do the head in that color. Oh, gorgeous. I'm gonna actually wipe off a little excess on that. I had a paper towel with me. So I'm kind of dry brushing it on, but also not. Very cool. Da 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 da. Neato. His sword is going to be, or his chopper is going to be silver, so I'm not going to mess with that. I will do his hip plate in this though. Maybe his belt buckle. I typically leave the belts black because it helps create a contrast. Contrast is super important. It's going to let your lights pop and your darks pop, and then that's going to allow your middle ranges to really push as well. Okay. So now I'm going to wash that brush. I used to keep a separate brush, pot of water for metallics and one for non-metallics, because it stops it from getting metallics into your non-metallics. All right, so now I got my Iron Hands Steel. I'm listening to the book Fulgrim on Audible right now, and the Iron Hands are awesome. I really like them. Blanking on the name of their Primarch, but I like him. That's not Pertabo. That's... Is it? This is where it's hard when I don't get immediate feedback from you guys. Cool. Getting those metallics on. The studs. I'm just gonna do the whole shin guard metal. I was originally gonna do it with the just the studs, but we're gonna try it this way. Someone in the house is listening to music. That's fun. All right. I'm gonna paint the whole gun with the silver. And the reason for that is I don't think they would take the time to really do much with it, like a special case or anything like that. If you were wanting to work quickly, you could paint the skin, well, whatever shade you're going. If you're going for more Caucasian or reddish skin or a darker skin tone, paint it like that, and then just hit the whole thing with Nuln Oil at the end of this. But we're going to try to avoid washes as much as we can with this and try to elevate our game up a little bit. Washes are great, but I think if we can avoid it just a touch, we feel good about ourselves. Not that you shouldn't feel good about yourself if you're using oils or Nuln Oil. He's looking really cool so far. Let's zoom in on that bad boy. So that's our base so far. And this is where we're gonna, this is our flats. Let's see if I can get a better picture of that. Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. For the symbol on the back, we're gonna do that at the end. He has a little 8-pointed star. Oh, the green. What the heck? Why didn't you guys tell me about the green? First grenade. Grenades in my head are always green. You're probably thinking, yo, Fuzzy, that is the brightest green. Why are you going that way? Well, we're gonna cut it actually. We're gonna cut that with a little bit of the Zamisi. And we're gonna try to make like an olive green with that. Or a nice soft green. There we go. Nice and simple. Don't need to overthink things. You really don't. And go with what you know. Maybe you want to think, oh, well, grenades are going to be a different color. All right, so now we have our first flats. What we'd go to now is we could put in darker tones, but I think I want my flat to be the darker tone. So I'm actually going to skip that stage and I'm going to go to my highlighting. Yeah. So where my Sons of Horus green, I'm going to take some rust gray and I'm going to mix that with it. Just grab a little touch of it, because we don't have much of it. I'm going to put it on my palette, mix it in, come up with something that's going to be a lighter gray, cut it with water. And what I'm going to do, roll it in there, because my tip is starting to hook. So we want to be careful of that. We want to watch your tip. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to try to highlight areas as best as I can. And that's going to be picking out See that already? Beautiful. And I don't need to get the whole thing painted, just areas that I think might catch the light. A little bit in there. Cool. All right, that's exactly what I wanted for that. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the skin tones and we're gonna mix our Kislev Flesh with the Mornfang Brown. So my Kislev Flesh is super thick right now. So I should probably use my mixer or my shaker. I have to find somewhere on my palette that's not contaminated. I'm just mixing a little bit of that Mornfang Brown with it. And the reason I'm mixing it is so that the contrast isn't so harsh. I don't know if you can see it. What I'm doing on my palette. So my palette's a messy place. So right here is where I'm mixing the Kislev Flesh with a little bit of the Mornfang Brown. I'm gonna roll it in there. I'm gonna get a little water in there. So right now that's just pure paint. Okay, all right. That might even be too much. Ooh. All right, let's try it out. You're here for it too. So the highlights are on there. Let's start these skin tones. I'm gonna pull across. I'm doing lines, and the reason I'm doing lines is I think it looks more like muscle tone. And he's gonna be a darker skinned guy. So we don't need too much of the skin to be light. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Let's see. And I'm trying to work with very deliberate touches of the paint. Very deliberate, very intentional with what I do. Some of the areas are gonna have thicker blobs of paint. That's okay. I'm trying to touch the areas where I can see the muscle tone. Games Workshop does such a good job of sculpting these models. You want to make sure you try to do it as much justice as you can. And you know what? If you're just learning, that's awesome. Do your best. If you got a shaky hand, that's fine too. Because honestly, whatever effort you put into it is going to be the best effort you can. I have a friend, he jokes it's premium plastic. You got to be careful. Nah. You just got to have fun. So some of it, I'm just dragging the brush across the top. And it's just hitting all those top layers. All right. Same thing for the fingers. Those knuckles. Intentional brushstrokes. Intentional brushstrokes, guys. And the beautiful thing with paint is that if it doesn't look the way you wanted it to, paint over it. Paint over it. We've been playing Tuesday nights here locally in Bakersfield, California at Crusader Brewing, which has been really cool. Great space there, great food, great drinks. They have line dancing some nights. It's really neat. It's really neat to see a community space actually try to cater to families too, which is nice. Oh, started painting on the fabric, the skin color. That was a bit silly. Okay, so he's looking pretty cool. Pretty happy with how he's looking. And we're probably gonna do a further highlight on top, if I'm honest. Maybe. Okay. Oh, his mouth. His silly little mouth. Okay. I have to be careful because my brush is hooking at the tip, which means I probably need to get a new one or find a new way to train it. Almost looks like a beast man, doesn't he? All right, groovy, groovy, groovy. We're going to now take our Morgas bone. Love that sound. Grab a taste of that, put it down. We're gonna put down kind of near where we have that Zambezi color. And then we're going to work from the bottom and go up. Already. And again, we're working on the top parts. We're gonna allow some of that Zambezi to work as shadows. We're letting our paints work for us, not against us. They're on our team. They're on our team. Getting those highlighted areas. Now you're probably thinking, fuzzy, it's a cultist, it should be dirty. Well, you can make yours dirty. You can do little splatters of brown on there if you want. But to me, that's gonna look like Dookie. And this is not a Nerdle army. This is cultists. I would imagine they're at least a little bit clean. I mean, it's looking pretty cool so far, guys. I like these colors together. If you like the colors together, let me know in the comments. Any feedback is good feedback. All right, up here, do the same thing. And luckily, these colors are a little bit different from the skin tone. That was something I was thinking about. I didn't vocalize it because I didn't want to say it and then be wrong. But I didn't want the wrapping, his clothing thing, to blend into his skin. And I think we've avoided it, honestly. I think we've avoided it pretty well, especially because I'm gonna add a little white. Ugh, I have a little white on my Stay moist, stay moist, stay wet palette. I'm gonna try to mix that in. Where is that at? Let's see if I can do it. Just little touches. Oh shoot, nope. Oh yeah, we're doing highlights now. I forgot what stage we were on. We're getting all that in there. So when it's on the table, it looks right. Looks nice and lovely. There we go. And then drop it. No, don't drop your stuff. I'm gonna see how with that white with a little bit of that Sons of Horus green might look, but I think it's gonna be too light. It's okay. It's important that you experiment with your colors. Yeah. I'm gonna go back in with just the Sons of Horus and blend those in together. I'm gonna carry on those metallics on the wrist guards, but I'm gonna do, yeah, I'm gonna have to go all the way. And I got a little bit on his arm, so I have to go back and fix that. But it's not a big deal. I think for the star on the back, I am gonna do the bronze, the Balthasar gold. I was wrestling with it, but I think that will be the best option. Yeah, that looks good. That pops. All right, his goatee needs to be black. It doesn't need to be, I just want it to be. So I'm gonna take some black off my Stay Wet palette. Tap it in there. Just have that little distinct look to it. I got some stuff on the skin over here, so we're gonna fix that and just paint over it. It's a beautiful thing of paint. If you don't like it, you can paint over it. All right, and there we go. We have the highlighted areas all nice and polished. And that is a simple cultist kind of thrown in there. We went with the base layer, flats, and then highlights. Now you could put a wash over it if you want. I'm gonna experiment with, no I'm not. No I'm not. I was gonna throw some tattoos on them, but I wanna kind of keep it simple. So, if you enjoyed it, if you learned something, let me know. Make sure you like the channel, like the video, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.